Hello, hello. Hello. Zbrush is here. All right. Morning, everybody. Today we go over some new features of the new Zbrush 2021.5. It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about it. There's some really cool stuff that I want to implement. We also have Darth Grogu here, so it'll be fun. But today is a day where people just can ask their questions on what they think about the new Zbrush, their opinions, questions of what they may not understand about the new Zbrush. I'm still learning a good chunk of it, but there's a lot that I already just am enjoying as a whole. And hard surface is going to be one of them. I'm really excited about. So let's just take a few more minutes, get Stream Raiders started. Some people are excited about that. So where are we at? We have a level 3. I think we might wait a few more minutes for that. Yeah, let's wait a few more minutes for that. I want to be able to finish it without using a token if possible. But go through, check out some of my skins. Captain sets. Ooh, got some cool stuff. Yep. Let's equip that one. Let's equip that one. If I have skins. Ooh, love it. Let's see what else we got. Never go through this stuff. Ooh. Go with the gold holiday monk. Got a war beast. Golden war beast. He's a level 2. I should probably use him. Ooh, it's like a little turkey. Pumpkin mage. Right. Yeah, I like all that stuff. There we go. Got all my cool stuff. Quit. Go back. Yeah. Alright. I like that. And we're all leveled up. Skins are good. Got plenty of meat. Not buying any. I'm not buying skins. That's not happening. Ooh, bones, scrolls. Alright, we are all purchased up. Let me just withdraw one. Let me go ahead and just make sure that it's all tweeted. And then let's get to it. Alright. Zbrush 2021.5. Coming. And we can do YouTubey. Gotta love the YouTubey. YouTubey. Twitch.tv/IR scope. Let's just say it. Can't type today. There we go. And tweet that out. Perfect. I think that takes you right there. Yeah. Just do it. Zbrush. What is up, Inspire? We are just getting crack-a-lackin' on the new update stuff. Figure we'll go over some updates, get some stuff happen. I'm just tweeting out my please come hang out with me. I'm desperate. Tweet. Loving the new features. There's a lot of really cool stuff with it, so I'm super excited to get through it. And so I figured today I played with it enough where I have a good grasp of it. So if there's like anything that like people have questions on or want to see, we'll go ahead and do it. I've been waiting very patiently to merge the head to the neck portion of the body in order to do the thing I want to do with Grogu and the Sith attachment piece. So come hang now. Post my YouTube link. Boop. All right. So yeah, so it's going exciting. How are you doing today, man? And again, thanks for letting me know about a couple errors you had in the test prints. Went ahead and fixed those, so now I have them all sliced myself, so I know they all slice. Now I just have to clean out my printer, put a new FEP film in there, because it's like 30 degrees at night, and resin doesn't like that cold temperature. So, you know, so yeah. What's up, Hopper? How you doing, man? How you doing? Welcome in. Hopefully you're doing okay. How is it on that side of the world? I know I get some news about what's going on over in England, in the UK in general, and seems like a up and down thing, so hopefully you're doing okay. I'm doing good, trying to find something to make. Been there, my friend. Well, after demonstrating some ZBrush hard surface stuff today with the thick skin, you may want to make something hard surfacey. I didn't save it. I don't know if you guys saw, I posted in the Discord about, I made a little ball orb thing in like 2 minutes. It was really, really cool. So, I'm going to go ahead and merge the head to the neck on Grogu. And then we're going to start making that first thing with, using the Z slice mesh with the Z modeler. Gotta get some water, hold on. Things not too bad over here, the usual really. Well, that's good, man. That's good. Stream Raiders? No, I'm waiting for a few more people to join in. Yeah, we're gonna do Stream Raiders, guys. I'm just waiting for a few people to join in so that we have enough to tackle level 3. It'll be good. Wait, be patient. But yeah, so let's go ahead and actually start the merge process here. There's also something really cool that was pointed out that apparently was new in 2020, and everybody just kind of ignored it. And that right there is with the, what is it? Blah, blah, blah. Come on, where are you? With the Subtool Master, there is something over here that is a clone folder, copy folder. So if you make something in, like, I didn't realize this, but I ended up making the whole saber, right? In a folder. I didn't realize that you could just copy that folder and paste it into a new project. So that's really important. So I'm gonna probably be I'm gonna probably use that a lot. In fact, actually, let's go ahead and just make that adjustment now. Go to config. Let's go to enable custom. Let's go to Subtool Master, and let's go to Copy Folder. And let's put it like right over here. I feel like I'm going to be using that a lot more, so let's do that. I think that's going to be cool. Let's put it like right there. Copy Folder. No. Nano to mesh. No, that seems fine. Everything else is pretty cool. Multi-insert import meshes. They'll be added immediately below selected subtool. I don't know if I want to do that yet. We'll see. We'll figure that part out later. All right, let's go to Preferences. Save UI. Let me just save it real quick. You guys downloaded the new ZBrush? And if so, what do you think about it so far? I think you've done it, right? Inspire. And let's go Iris Sculpts. And boom. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and store. And that way we'll always have it. There's also some new brushes that contrast target, contrast delta. I'm really loving those. Yeah, there's a lot to do, so let's get into it. Alright, so with the head, the neck, oops. Let's go ahead and just kind of merge that down like such. There we go. now we have that, which is cool. Actually, I'm gonna reload this. I'm gonna reload it because I also, there's something to note here, which I thought was super cool. So I'm gonna have to show you guys this as well. That is when it comes to merging and doing subdivisions. I haven't always stay a couple of versions behind, so not too many bugs. Well, I'll tell you, the ZBrush 2021.1.2 had a lot of bugs, and I can already tell you this has a lot more CPU performance, which is, they fixed a lot of bugs. I had a lot of, everybody could tell, I had a lot of crashes and stuff like that. So there was a lot of bugs and stuff in the last couple versions. So I'm happy with this one. Actually, I took my Gwenna, which was 70 million polys, and I ended up crunching it down to 30 million polys while keeping very similar textures. So there's a lot more improvement in processing information as well. I downloaded, but I haven't actually tried any of the new stuff yet. Well, that's what we're here for, so we can go through and try some of the new stuff, talk about some of the new stuff, etc., etc. But what I was going to tell you guys was, when you're working with subdivisions, if you're, whatever your lowest subdivision level is on the tool that is beneath the tool you want to merge, that's the subdivision level it's going to pull from. So if you go to subtool, and let's say I have the head and the body, they're both at subdivision level 5. And so when I go ahead and I merge the head down, so merge down, it's going to calculate those subdivisions now, and I'm still at subdivision level 5 because both of them were at 5, which means that when I merge it, what I can go ahead and do is I can still scale it on down to the lowest resolution, still keeping my low mesh, and then bringing it back up. Now, of course, stitching that together, all that is going to be an issue on its own, but that's something to note. Apparently that was a release a version or two ago, but it was buggy for me, so I didn't use it a whole lot, but it worked right out the gate and I liked it. So one of the new features we're going to first cover is we're going to cover slice mesh with the Z modeler brush and the fill, because I want to actually show you guys how I wanted to make that headpiece on Grogu. And then we'll go over some other stuff, thick skin, dynamics. I actually brought back Sculptors Pro as well to the game because I'm really excited about that. And then the other thing I'm really excited about is this preview AO, which is up in render. This is amazing. So immediately with it off, it's sometimes hard to tell, especially for 3D printing, whether or not something is actually deep enough or has enough detail in the cavities. So when you turn it on, I made a shortcut down here, you turn it on, and now you can actually see and it doesn't really push the CPU that hard, so that's kind of nice. So I'm really excited for the preview AO as well, especially when trying to finalize and get a certain look, seeing the cavities a little bit better. The way I used to do it is I would actually just go to mask cavity and flip it, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, I'm excited. So I love working with this now, and it updates on the fly. Thick skin is my most exciting feature so far that I have seen. Yes, and I actually made a little hard surface ball with like a spike coming out of its dome, if it has a dome, in like 2 minutes, just playing around with basic tools and thick skin. It's amazing. I'm really excited about that too. So what we're gonna do is turn that off for a second. We're gonna go ahead and duplicate this, turn everything else off, turn solo on, and now I'm gonna merge these together. And so what I think I want to do is I just want to stitch. I think I want to stitch it together. So let's go back to the lowest subdivision level. Go ahead and delete higher. Turn off symmetry. And then let's click the cog wheel and let's do remesh by union. Which now we can stitch this together here. Now turn on Sculptors Pro. Along with the inflate brush, turn off adapted size. And let's turn on symmetry again. Kind of stitch that together. This is a process I'm still figuring out a little bit. Not my favorite way to do it. Usually I just Dynamesh it and then Z-remesh afterwards with Dynamesh Master, but this actually seems to work out pretty well, so let's give it a shot. Go ahead. Okay. Oh, we accepted that already, which is perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to keep groups. We'll keep it the same and Z-remesh to merge together. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kat. Hello, hello. Also, too, I'm going to tell you guys this Sculptress Pro workflow that I'm going to start to work on with Dynamesh is going to change the way I think on sculpting stuff. I was able to sculpt a little like canyon, a tiny little detailed canyon on this giant block. Ooh, that did not work out very well, did it? Okay, back this up a little bit. Just not usually how I work. That's okay. Let's just go ahead and we copy this. Let's delete lower. And let's just go to Z. That's the way I like to do. I like to go here to... Where are you? Dynamesh Master. And let's do 1,000,000. Which gives me this detail right here. And let's go ahead. I can turn that off for a second. Play build up. So yeah, so if you guys have questions or want to see something, let me know. We're not really focused on the characters so much today as we are the new features. But I'm going to tell you right now, performance-wise, since I have, I don't have the best gear in the world and my processor and stuff is like, the performance is night and day from just upgrading it. It's a lot better. And I'll pull up Gwynnm. I'll show you, like, I had her at 72 million. I went ahead and kicked her down, projected details, and then used the new contrast feature and was able to get the exact same style texturing with 40 million polys less. Whereas using BDM brushes and trying to get the subdivisions up without using Sculptress was a little difficult. So definitely a very good night and day difference in performance already. And also too, Blender, ZBrush to Blender works. That's one of the bugs they fixed as well, which I knew they would, so yay. I'm really excited about that, actually. I knew there's a lot of people who were upset. I mean, even I was like, oh man, I gotta figure out a new process. But once they announced it was a bug, I was confident they were gonna fix it in the new release. Just partly also I think they pushed out the new release so quickly. Which makes sense, You don't want to alienate. So, he has some crazy traps, but that's okay. That works out for what we're doing. Now we have this. Also, too, I'll show you the other thing I'm really excited about. I know they fixed it before. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this. Hey, why is that like that? Oh, there's something on his face that's a little... I'll have to smooth that down. Face got a little messed up, I think. Interesting. Quite sure what happened there. So we just fix that real quick. There we go. Alright. Easy peasy. Go ahead and duplicate that. Let's hide that. Now we'll Z-remesh at, like, let's say 5. And let's just see what we get. We have most of the details, so I don't need to worry about edge loops at this point. Weird. Got a coffee grain in my coffee. Alright. We have this. Looks great. A pretty decent clean mesh. Let's go ahead. So what I've learned is when projecting one time, go ahead and delete this guy now, we don't need it. when projecting one time, you just subdivide a few times, however much you want. I'm going to subdivide there. And then you just hit project. So you don't project first, then subdivide. You subdivide and then project one time. And it usually brings it all in. Like that. So now, yeah, went from 1,000,000 to 600. So, and you can't even tell the difference. So we'll go ahead and delete that one. So that's really cool. Being able to then subdivide your new ZBrush and then project one time, that's really clean. I like that. All right. So thick skin doesn't seem to like thin objects on some brushes. Ooh, interesting. I haven't really tested it on thin objects, but it should technically. But also too, I think you can even combine. You should be able to combine your. Let's take it like a mesh, for example, like a plane. You'll be able to also apply your back face mask as well. Go to double. So let's do thick skin. This is a single-sided image, so let's actually, before we do that, let's actually just turn on dynamics and let's kick the thickness up a little bit. Apply it. There we go. Let's try that. Now let's go to thick skin. Okay, so I don't have back face mask on. And so it definitely is pulling from the back like before. But with not mirroring well with back face. Give it a shot and see. Yeah, you're right. That really doesn't work that well, does it? Just kind of cracks the geometry. Well, that's good. That's a bummer. I mean, but this is pretty thin. So even that's just with back face, but without back face, it is allowing you to kind of crunch it up a little bit. And it bottoms out at some point. So back face on it crashes, that's for sure. Oh wait, it's working now. That might be a little bit of a bug. Back face is on now. I'm just able to pull it. Crunch that out. Interesting. That's a little weird. So let's go play build up one more time. Back face off. Pulling. Thick skin. Back face on. Yeah, seems to be working okay. I think for some reason it might have just been a bug. I don't know. Yeah, back face screws it up. Interesting. But yeah, it's not screwing it up now. Interesting. Yeah. You might have found a little bug, my friend. Ah, pretty cool. Well, that's good to know. But thick skin is really cool. I'm liking it so far. Alright, now that we have this. Alright, so what I wanted to do was actually create that neck piece around him. It also doesn't work with transpose. Yeah, they didn't demonstrate with transpose. I used it a lot with move yesterday in the standard brush, and that seemed to work out pretty well. Alright, so what I wanted to do was actually, let's do slice curve. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate, fellow this out. Going to drop subdivision to about there. We're going to go ahead and delete higher. Now we're going to turn on our symmetry. And so what I wanted to do is we're going to go to Z modeler, so BZM. And now there's this really cool feature in the points, the slice mesh, also in the edges, slice mesh. So now we can actually come through Because before you'd use like, let's say like before you'd want to use like the trim curve or the slice curve, and you would want to kind of do something like this. And while that works, it groups everything, and it doesn't always cut the way you want it to. So where this comes in, how's it going? Good morning. Now, let me pull up the concept real quick. So load that. We're gonna take a look at like how we can actually cut this. Let's go to load. Go to Darth Grogu. Here we go. So with this part right here, we want to get this kind of shape. We want to get it as clean as possible. So, kind of by his eye a little bit. Now I'm going to touch one point, touch another point. Back that up a little bit. I have all right, there we go. All right, so let's do here to here. Like here to here looks pretty good. Interesting. I want to see something. That's creasing edges. Okay, that's pretty cool too. I like that it's doing that. So we're gonna touch here to about here. Then we'll go ahead and go right about there. Should be fine. Quite sure how much harder. Let's see. I think I want to actually make a kind of a little educated decision here. Fine. You want to tap spacebar to get rid of the selection, because if you touch one point, then touch another, then touch another, then touch another, it's just going to go ahead and try to figure it out. If you tap spacebar, that kind of ends that selection phase. Let's go right about here. Yeah, it's right about there. Okay, let's do mirror and weld. On that side. Oops. Now let's do the piece. A touch right there. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of get this wrapped around that. Now it doesn't work with symmetry, as you notice, but as soon as you mirror and weld it, it does connect that. And then the cool part is hovering over the face, and then there's a new fill option. So it's under polygroup, fill. You touch that, and now you get this selection right here. It's exactly what I want. So I can go ahead and isolate that part. Turn double on. And then I can go ahead and delete hidden. And now I have this right here perfectly cut to his face. And I think that right there is already going to change how I do hard surface. And then from here, let's go ahead and Z-remesh it. Keep the groups, we'll keep it the same. Give me a little bit cleaner topology to work with. I think I'm going to take my guy over to Blender. I have to get it done, and as much as I like to do it on Zbrush, I really don't have time to explore with it. Yeah, do what you got to do for paid gigs. For sure, do you. It's nice to be able to want to incorporate new software, but at the same time, it's like you said, you got to get it done. So yeah, just get it done. That's what I really, really, really love about the slice mesh, because it's already now giving me a formed hard surface shape. Now I can go ahead and kind of apply the thickness to if I want. Go over here to geometry. Let's control the features a little bit better. We'll pop the thickness up. Let's actually pop it up a lot and then kind of go in a little bit so it's embedded into. And let's turn everything else on. I want to make sure that, yeah, see, it's still, so yeah, it's not visible at the moment. Or it is visible at the moment, so we're going to go ahead and hide everything. What I am going to do, which is cool, I'm going to hover over an edge. I'm going to get rid of the creasing, so let's go to crease, go to complete edge loop. Let's remove that. Then let's go to the edge, go to extrude. And this is a cool thing that I just learned too. You're dragging this out, then you tap Alt. It actually pulls the whole thing out instead of having to go in each navigation and select. So you can tap Alt back and forth to get full edge loops completed. That's going to help with retopology for sure. But then the other thing is we're going to go to snap the surface. We'll turn on the neck. Go ahead and transparency that. It's going to go ahead and kind of like quickly have it pop out. Oh, got a little bit of breakage. That's okay. Go to point as well. Do move. Let's do snap to surface. I mean, this part's really cool. It doesn't want to snap the surface that way, which is a little weird. That's okay. We could just grab the point and then click it. So, a little bit of labor of love there. Yep, let's go ahead and grab the lasso brush. Let's grit that. And let's delete hidden. Guess that would be helpful. So I'm liking the fact that you can get a shape pretty quickly. The Z remeshing part's a little funky still with the retopology, but that's all right. You can even just take our move brush, kind of just pull this down. Just want to make sure it's not visible. So we can kind of do this. Too many buttons. All right. We can have something like that. We wanted to give him a little bit more robotic feel. Although we can kind of see his neck a little bit. So maybe all that was moot, but still. I like how we can just go ahead and quickly get stuff selected. Yeah, it was probably just like that. Let's actually do something more like that. That's pretty cool. Like that. Now I'm going to use thick skin as well to make the actual the details. See, I mean, I'm getting the base down. It's super quick in ZBrush, and I like that. After decluttering my desk, I feel I have a ton more room now. Yeah, absolutely. All that does make a big difference, you know? So, oh, that song is really like fading in, isn't it? All right. We're going to go ahead and push all this in real quick. Now what's cool with the details is I'm going to use thick skin to do all of those details. That's what I'm most excited about. Well, let's just kind of get this embedded a little bit. Let's turn dynamic subdivision back on. What I want to do is be able to push down its lower section a little bit. You can even push his neck down. There we go. Morning! Are you using 21.5? I am. And if you have any questions about some of the new features, we actually just went over slice mesh to make Darth Grogu's little face neck piece or headpiece that's happening here. So feel free to ask any questions, and if I can answer it, I will. Pretty excited with where this is going already. That's pretty neat so far. So we're gonna go ahead and turn that off. Kind of correct some of this geometry a little bit. And turning it back on. I'm gonna correct that. Kind of just push this in a little bit. Part down. That may be a little bit more straight across. Go ahead and turn that off a bit. We can fix the geometry in hand. This is where dynamic has always been really powerful to me. You can come in here and just work with a single-sided mesh and then preview how that's going to look as it's intercepting, which is nice. Now this thickness is a little too, you know, it's a little too much on the outside, but I do like how thick that is. So we're just going to change the offset to go in a little bit. Something like that. And then let's just quickly fix how it's approaching on his head. There we go. That already brings this character to life a whole lot more. So now we're going to go ahead and let's just duplicate this real quick so we have a backup. Hide this, but then we're going to accept this thickness. Now we're going to work with just this surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn everything off but this in his head because I want to be able to see how it looks. Now we're going to give it kind of a dark gray. Go ahead and just fill that color 100%. Take his neck. Let's actually push that in. Like that. Now, based on our concept, we have like very little to go by as far as all this information here. So we're going to kind of go ahead and just wing this a little. What I wanted to try. Oh, you know what I wanted to try? I wanted to try this one feature with the deformer that Paul G was actually talking a lot about. So if we go ahead and turn off symmetry for a second. Let's open up our gizmo. Actually set it in the middle. Turn on deformer. Turn on symmetry. Pretty certain this was correct. No. Never mind. Okay. I'll have to look at that one thing. Anyway, what we're going to do is I have symmetry turned on. I think what I wanted to do... Okay, let's turn on thick skin. Where are we on the subdivision levels? They're really not much. Let's actually just go up a little bit on subdivision. Now we're going to use our standard brush for this. We're going to turn thick skin on and on it right about there. I think. Let's see how that works. Okay, that's a little too high. That's 26. So let's try more like 10. Yeah, that's going to be good. Okay. The 10, let's go ahead and up this up a bit. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on a morph target. And turn on lazy mouse. We're actually just going to quickly draw out hitting 1 a bunch of times and just kind of drawing panel right here. I don't like that one. We're gonna come here. We're just gonna quickly do this. Kind of gives us the base shape that I'm looking for. Have I tried to update to 2021.5, but it was giving me LQ lib error. Or Qt lib error. Interesting. On Mac OS, I'll want to wait a little bit and try. Interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard of Mac being problematic on with Pixel Logic, and that's a bit of a bummer. So with this thick skin, I'm now able to quickly just like really just rough this in here, and it stops me at that one point, so I can kind of like make an outline of something I like and then fill this in really quickly. And it caps it each time, which is very, very cool. And with the morph target, it allows me to kind of have a stopping point. That's come here like this. Gonna quickly this is how I envisioned that I was gonna do this flat piece. Now, I'm sure there's a whole lot more information and stuff that can be done, but you know, this we can actually do something kind of cool like that, giving us some really neat hard surface stuff quickly, which I like a lot. The weird thing I have a weird thing with the Cintiq and the Intuos as well, with the Cintiq duplicates in the Wacom Desktop Center. Causes issue where I have to disconnect and Ooh, I had that issue when I used to work on Mac, when I was graphic designing, because my boss was a big Mac person, big Mac fanboy, and we had that issue a lot towards the end. I think that might be. Honestly, I think it's all Mac's fault. I had it too, yeah. You had to disconnect the cable from the back or the front, and then put it in. I think that's a Mac issue with the Cintiq driver. I don't think that's anything specifically with Cintiq itself. I think that's the driver with Mac, yeah. Unfortunately. Alright. Now I have this guy right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and delete lower subdivision. I'm going to go ahead and turn on Dynamesh, which, you know, is over here typically. Let's actually go up to 800 on Dynamesh, which is fine. Now we're going to turn on that preview AO, just to get an idea of what our depths and stuff look like. And then I'm going to use clay polish. So geometry, clay polish, kind of sharpen this up a little bit. Now let's take a look at where everything is at. What's visible, what's not visible. That's looking really cool already. All right. Yeah, would you say this method would be good for making ornament type armor? I would, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely would. You know, with the combination of taking his face, using slice mesh to cut out a certain section that wraps perfectly around his face, getting a single plane, and then bringing that out. Yeah, I think this would work great for armor. Because again, you'd be able to quickly just isolate a certain section, get that so it's matched to the body, and then using thick skin allows you to cap it so you can get really good filigree and details very, very fast. The other thing I really like with Dynamesh is when you have Dynamesh activated and you have thick skin going on. So if you come here to thick skin and you turn it on, what I really like about it is it matches that detail and that depth as well. You can see here it's already duplicating not just what's on top of it, but also the different shapes as well. So the better your resolution, go 1000. Let's go ahead and maybe clay polish this a bit. So if you have really decent resolution and you start applying that thick skin, which go to thick skin, turn it on, yeah, it'll like cap that and actually try to follow that geometry. Now, the thing I did realize is that if you were to have Dynamesh and you swipe to finalize that Dynamesh, thick skin gets turned off. So it was on, finalized it. It's because it has to recalculate. So you just have to turn it back on, and then it would want to follow that shape. So that's something to note too. But yeah, I think it's great. It'll be great for making ornament type armor for sure. I'll have to open a ticket with Wacom and see if they could fix their driver. Yeah, that would be good. I don't think they get enough people doing that. So we're going to turn on thick skin and actually want a shallow undercut. So we'll do something like that. And what I like is we're going to do the chisel brush. Lazy mouse is on. And I'm actually going to turn on... Oh, you can't do that with Sculptress. I mean, with Chisel. I'm going to turn on Sculptress now. So what I would like to have happen... I want to just kind of define this a little bit better. Resolution is pretty low. That's just kind of destroying it a little bit. Okay, let's just do the chisel brush. I don't want to destroy anything. Let's actually subdivide this. Let's get rid of Dynamesh. Let's subdivide. I don't want to kick it up too much. Unless we want to do Dynamesh Master. Let's do that. Dynamesh Master, a million. Which will finalize that for sure. We'll go ahead and we'll turn thick skin back on. Let's give us a lot of detail. Thick skin. Now we can use the chisel brush. Kind of come in here. Want to do something like that. Get an undercut. Still kind of hideous. Yeah, let's subdivide. I'm not happy with that result. It's too jaggy. Let's go ahead and hit Z-Remesh. Let's clay polish it a couple times. Really get that pumped up. Want those nice hard edges. Now it's Z-Remesh. And we'll Z-Remesh the same. Is it better to clay polish versus going to deformation and polish? I prefer clay polish because it just kind of masks everything and I can sharpen at the same time. But I would say it's not necessarily better. It's more preference. Preference for sure. I'm actually used to using clay polish over polish in the deformer and the deformation tab, but it's completely up to you, yeah. Okay, now we got subdivisions. Go up, say 1,000,000. Okay, turn that thick skin back on. Go. Actually, let's use standard brush. I'm really liking the standard brush all of a sudden. It seems to be a lot cleaner. I'm hitting the last key, hitting the one key on it, coming in, following your marks. I feel like you really get just some really good lines. Nice, and it caps it, you know. That's the best part. here. That part's not visible, which is nice. Definitely able to get some good shapes here. Gotta remember to go subtract. I meant to ask yesterday, but why do you flip between? Why do I flip between Sculptress? Do you mean why do I use Sculptress Pro and not use Sculptress Pro? Or do you mean like why do I flip back and forth between Dynamesh and Subdivision? If for Sculptress, I use it sometimes to help weld parts together. When you have subdivisions and you use Sculptress, because it rebuilds geometry on the fly, in between little weld spots, it can actually help connect them better and keep your subdivisions without Dynameshing everything together. It's a workflow that was introduced to me in school. I don't like it 100%. I'd rather Dynamesh it because everything gets watertight. But it is a very valuable method, and it works out pretty well. It's just another way of welding things together if you don't want to Dynamesh at all. So hopefully that answers your question. But I'm just using the standard brush right now, and I'm literally just coming in with thick skin, cutting in, tapping one until it caps. And I feel like this is giving me some pretty good results. Because it caps it, you know, you could press 1 until your heart's content, and it's just going to stop it. So you can actually end a stroke early, and then tap 1 a bunch of times, then come back in, and then start your stroke again, without having to feel like you need to make a continuous stroke, and then it levels out. So this really helps just getting little things like that punched in. Got it, thanks. Okay, no problem. Yeah. The thing I love about ZBrush, that I'm sure some of you have heard me say a bunch of times, is that it's like Photoshop in that there's easily 10 or 20 ways to do the exact same thing in the program. So a lot of ZBrush is a lot of just preference. And while some methods are proven to be easier, other methods are proven to be more effective over the repetitive state. So it just depends on what you're comfortable with, and also what your end game is, what the result is you're trying to get. But this new thick skin method, just coming in here, hitting 1 on the keyboard to do last repeat. I don't have to worry about how clean my stroke is. I just have to it's like right there I messed up. So here I stopped it kind of short and then hit 1 a bunch of times. I just come in and boom, there. Get it close enough and it just kind of works itself out. The only problem with the last stroke is, like, let's say you make a stroke and then you want to see it and you move the camera and you hit 1. It's not gonna do that very last thing, because it also counts camera movements, which I think is kind of stupid. I mean, not effective. I mean, silly, but you know. Yeah. From here. 1 a bunch of times. So bam. I like it. I think this works out pretty well. This is pretty decent. Now let's go ahead and take a look at it as a whole. Fits his head pretty nice. Now, of course, too, like you were saying earlier, RV, did you change your name from Mr. RV to Artisty RV? I think I just realized that. Yeah, we can go to deformation, and then we can go to polish by features, and we can even, you know, crank that up, and then it'll give us kind of a nice clean look. Get some water. Also, too, we're gonna officially start Stream Raiders now. I know it's been a while, and I want to get to that. So let's go ahead and get that going. Okay. So we can definitely polish by features. You can polish by crisp edges as well. Help kind of clean all that up. What I really like too is turning on that that preview AO, which again is up here. You can adjust the quality, and you can also adjust the fall off, or blur, the intensity as well. It's up to you. I kind of like the default setting. I think it's a little bit exaggerative, but it kind of just helps me see clearly where those depth points are. But then if we turn on contrast, if we bump up the contrast, which is a new slider now, can actually get a little bit more depth than before. So if we turn that off for a second, back that up, that was pre-contrast. Now this is contrast. So it can definitely, like, not necessarily polish, but it can give it that just a little bit more punch to it, which is nice. And then we can come back up, and instead of polish by features, we can just hit polish. Let it do its thing and get relatively clean stuff. And I think if you hit polish and you click this little thing up here, actually, no, that polish, that's a little bit better. What does that do? This little slider control, open circle will apply polish and maintain. Hey, thank you so much, YR Future Self. Thank you so much for the follow. So closed circle will apply polish and smooth out. Okay, so open circle, main feature overall. That's what we want. Welcome in. Been extremely thirsty today. All right. So here is definitely a quick way. So just by using the slice mesh and then going through with a thick skin, we were able to really quickly kind of open up, or not open up. We were definitely able to get something that is form-fitting to our character's head really quickly without any issues whatsoever. And so now we have this kind of Darth Vader like little frame thing that's around his head, which is nice. And now we can go through with the rest of the way and finish up making the mini details. So as you can see here, he has like just little, like, these are very simple stuff. He has very like little nibs or little nooks right here that we can utilize. Now, while his are a little bit more thicker, I want to make mine a little bit more practical. So what we can do is we can go to the trim dynamic, go back to thick skin, turn it off, and then let's turn it on again. So that'll recalculate everything. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and kind of inflate it a bit like that. Take the trim dynamic. We wanted to do something more like this. You know, stop it at some point. That doesn't work. That doesn't work out too well though. All right, so what we're gonna do now, let's go ahead and turn thick skin on. Take our standard brush. Let's up this up a bit. So we're just going to turn lazy mouse off. Gonna do this one. There we go. Making a little spot right there. We're gonna make a couple of these. Gonna kind of stop it. And what I want to do is actually, I'm gonna use the move brush. Now I'm gonna hold it Alt and click, and it's just gonna help me pull out some like little dots. And it's gonna stop against that wall, because when you're holding Alt and you're pushing or pulling into the surface, it'll push along the normals. So we can actually go ahead and kind of get some simplistic little button looking things. I think that already just gives it a little something more. And it's all within the same thing. And then if we recalculate, we go up a little bit more. We can go ahead and hit. We can hit our standard brush. And I'm just using the standard brush at this point. Like I'm not really doing anything else. Let's actually back that down just a bit. That look. That's too far out. It's far out, man, but not the way we want it to. Go 1. Yeah, 1 kind of wipes it. That's the other thing too. If you want to delete something in thick skin, slide it all the way down, and it will just delete it. If you don't like what you're getting, it's that simple. Slide it down to 0, and then just rewipe it. And that's the cool part. Let's leave it like that. That's totally fine. I'm gonna go ahead and go up in subdivision a little bit because we want better detail now. We're kind of pushing a bunch of pushing the geometry a little bit. I think, again, there's not a whole lot of information there, so to speak. So let's go to geometry. Let's go to clay polish. Bring the max and the sharpness up. Yeah, like that. That's good. Take the pinch brush. Now here's what's really cool. So we're going to take the pinch brush and we're going to use Sculptress. But I want to pinch this section, but I don't want to affect anything else around. This is new. Now I can highlight this one little spot, and I can come in here, and I can just pinch this section right here using Sculptress Pro, or even just, oh, I had it on for a second. Kind of fix that a little bit. It's a little there. So yeah, so I go ahead and take the pinch brush, grab the pinch brush, turn on Sculptress Pro, select the small section. Sculptress Pro is still turned on. Now you can actually, I am butterfingers today, sorry guys. Now with Sculptress turned on, you can actually see that we're getting pinching. That's really cool. Now, of course, too, it doesn't always like it with subdivision levels, so you have to be careful for that. We can just come through, select the section. If we want to use Sculptress, we can, while we select the space, or you could just do it typically. You just come through and pinch like you normally would. This is neat. I like this. Turn on Lazy Mouse. Get a nice clean edge. So yeah, a lot of really cool features, and I've already started using them. That's the best part. I was a little hesitant in the beginning with like, I wonder how effective these features will be within my own workflow, because I started getting into more hard surface, and I definitely don't really like using a lot of brushes in ZBrush, so I'm getting used to like now discovering more of these brushes. I'm still able to use my standard pinch, move, clay buildup, and now with thick skin combined, I can get some pretty good, decent shapes quickly, not worry about the rest. So it fits right in really nicely. I'm very happy with that, actually. There we go. I can actually see this being that slice mesh in the beginning. I can actually see that being used really heavily in the prop world, because now you can actually take a scan of your actor and you can actually create something that is custom fit by just slicing out what you want without having to go through too much trouble of form fitting. I think that's going to be very helpful. Yeah. Boom. Go ahead and give that kind of a metallic look. Let's go metal. Go ahead and fill that object. That. More of a metal. Kind of want more of a, maybe a darker metallic. Maybe we'll go textured metal. Fill object. Switch that back. There we go. That's better. So yeah, so we have something that's a little bit more hard surface. You know? Really, really quickly. And it fits to his body really nice. So yeah, I really think that's amazing. Can't type today. There you go. All right. I think now we can actually get to the posing phase. Let's go ahead and save this. So what do you guys think of the new ZBrush? Have you guys played with it a little bit? Do you guys have any questions so far about some of the new features you want to see? Kind of glossed over a good chunk of them already. But I'm here till noon, so if you guys have any questions or think of anything, feel free to drop them. Even in the comment section for those on YouTube, if the video's done, feel free to comment those questions down below and I can answer them. There's a lot of really cool features. I would say right now, probably the most I'm going to be using is definitely this preview AO. Again, it just makes everything pop so much better. And again, you could just take that intensity down a little bit. And now you have the ability to see your model a lot better with a lot more detail than you could before. Whereas like you either use mask by cavity or you actually turn on AO, and then that only works for the render, and that's hard as well. So we got a few more minutes before Stream Raiders, about 17 to be exact. I think we're gonna actually go ahead and start posing because, and I'll tell you right now, his ears, all those details, is gonna be a lot more fun. You know, the thing I noticed is I think his head's wider than what I have it, to be honest with you. We're going to go into posing and actually make some big changes as well. But yeah, I'm really going to start seeing the look of the character once he's in pose. I struggle a little bit with T-pose getting him perfectly. I feel like the life of the character is not here. So, really no need to have him there at the moment. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to pose them, and then that way I can see a little bit better of everything. So let's save it, and let's get the T-pose mesh. Okay, remember why I love Wacom. The support is right up there with Apple support. Found out what the issue was. Nice, what was the issue? Alright. This is our character. And let's get to posing him a little bit, and let's make some changes first. So his head, I think, is a little too narrow versus the concept. So we're going to go ahead, grab our move brush, turn on symmetry. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. I think his head needs to be a little bit wider, just subtle wider, like not even a whole lot. Go ahead and select that part right there. Kind of bring this head back in. Yeah, that was really, really cool being able to create that piece so fast. Yeah. that piece, and let's grab that piece. Do is actually kind of bring this up right in his neck a little bit. I think his neck is just too skinny. Kind of push that down. Mac OS put the USB ports to sleep, and it corrupts the preference file. There is a SMC reset document that basically disables the sleeping of the ports. Wow, that's crazy. That's such a weird feature to put in your USB ports, though. The simple solution is to use the Wacom tablet utility and remove the preference. Nice, man. Well, I'm glad you figured that out. I'm glad you got help and got that figured out. That's really cool. Oh yeah. See, actually, you know what? Right there, just widening his head, all of a sudden to me it looks a lot better. He was a little too narrow. But we're able to, like, yeah, that looks so much better. Also too, his ears are a little small. So we can kind of open that up a little bit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's nice. Then it rebuilds the preference file. 5-minute phone call. Well, again, that is one of the things I love about Wacom as well. I like companies that have good support, you know? Something kind of special. All right. Well, that's good, man. Okay. Now that we have this, now everything is very subtle with this pose, and that's what makes it really unique. So we're gonna have to go ahead and treat this very... Okay. So what I'm gonna want to do is, you can do this in T-Pose Mesh, is that you can actually hit auto groups, and then you can go ahead and hit mirror and weld. Oops. Well, why you would do that if you have stuff like I do, but you could actually go ahead and hit auto groups so that you could select each and every one of your individual parts as needed for the pose. So let's go ahead and just hit auto groups, and then let's go ahead and make this pose. First things first is we're going to move him entirely to the angle that makes sense. Right about or here. That's about where we're going to go. And let's reset that gizmo, so now we're locked to that position. Okay. Yeah, Apple and Wacom are two of my favorite companies for support. Autodesk, not so much. Yeah. You know. What can you do, man? What can you do? I feel you. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and highlight this section right here. Go. Turn off symmetry. Go. And be moving his head a little bit. There we go. And we're going to be really just making sure that we select this certain section right here. Chin's actually a little bit more down. Head's a little bit more tilted. That way. And we don't want to break. We don't want to break this part right here. I'm actually going to hide that. Do is we'll actually select this section here, part of his neck. Yeah, that's why I said when Alias sold Maya over the Autodesk, Alias support was crazy good. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, to me, the head should be down in the jacket a little bit more. We're getting there, buddy. We're getting there. We definitely need to get this pushed in just a bit. We don't want to break this part right here. This is the part we don't want to break. We want to move the head a little bit more. Also perspective on, hit 85. Sometimes this helps get just a little bit more of what we want. Also too, his collar is just, this jacket collar is too small. We actually need to make that bigger. This is why posing is so important. Yep. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and we can grab our hard surface, hopefully. Come on. There we go. Grab this guy. And we're going to go ahead and just slightly move it back around his head where it fits. That's a necklace. There we go. You assume that this material that is around his face is actually more rubber than metallic. We could push that back into the collar a little bit more. Go. And then now with this piece right here, we take this and kind of move it around. Can actually stretch that just a little bit. Which I think that works out pretty well. Go ahead and get rid of these for a second. Bloop. Perfect. I think that's gonna be good. Also get rid of this orb kind of in the way. Take a look at where the pose is. We also need to move his feet now. Here. Come on. Oh, Zbrush. Now we're just grabbing the collar here. Hopefully. There we go. This collar itself is just a little too small, so we're going to go ahead and turn on local symmetry. We're actually going to reposition this. We haven't merged it together yet, so we're able to kind of go in and actually make that a little bit better. Kind of reposition it, fit our needs. Just like that. Actually, with the dual eyes, he looks really badass. Bonjour, sorry for being late. No, Martin, why are you late, buddy? No, you're fine, dude. You are fine, man. Welcome in, man. We're just posing. We went over a few features within Zbrush, the new 2021.5 edition. Ended up making a really cool hard surface little neck plate for him. Actually waiting for this release to make that because I already knew how I wanted to do it with the new features and didn't want to figure out another way. That's how excited I am about the new ZBrush, is that these new features I was able to quickly like anticipate what I wanted to do, which is cool. So we're gonna go ahead and hide a good chunk of these real quick. How are you doing, man? I think Wacom and Autodesk are secretly the same company with having the reset of the preference file. Maybe. Yeah, it may be. You know, actually, I wouldn't be really surprised if they went to the same person or had the same programmer. I feel like that happens a lot, actually. Okay. Now what I want to do... Actually, what I want to do... Select that. I'm going to deselect... Or unmask next right here. Mask this section. Now I have this right here. We're going to go ahead and put this down. Oh, where are you? Whee! Nope. Grab you right there. I don't know how many times there's an issue in Maya and you get told reset your preference file. That'd be the solution, ain't it? Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Well, I mean, you know, hey, if it makes sense, right? All right. Also gonna rotate his arm back, forward. Also, too, I think his arm itself might be a little long. So we're just going to do a scale down and take this to 0.95. And we'll remember to do that to the other side. Kind of push that back. I mean, you know, it's just like there's plenty of IT companies that go to the same, or there's plenty of companies that go to the same IT group. That happens a lot. So I guess it just really all depends, you know, on like, yeah, where they reside, or, you know, the end game is. Also, too, probably like the whole like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. All right, I'm gonna kind of push this in like this a little bit more. Kind of rotate that down. There you go. That's a little bit better. All right, kind of broke his elbow a little bit. Let's go ahead and oops, do not duplicate him. I want to copy that right there. Do this one. Quickly just unmasking. Still want to imagine how much was it CD Projekt Red made with Cyberpunk? A lot. I would say they made a lot, man. Good for them. Let's take this. Ooh, Stream Raiders is ready. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab this. Go ahead and rotate this down. We're obviously going to have to point his hand a little bit more to his wrist, but let's just kind of get that angled in there. It's already coming to life. How was the stream so far? Stream's going really well. Like I said, we went over some of the new features. If anybody has questions, Peter had some technical issues that he ended up fixing, and we're just still going through with Darth Grogu. Yeah, stream's going really well, man. Stream Raider time! That's what's happening. Woo! TWC Blank is in the house! Let's do it! Yeah, I get the devs moving from one company to another. I have a number of friends who have worked that I've gone from our company to Dell to IT to USAA and other companies. So yeah, it happens. Absolutely. I worked for a company that had literally one guy come in his PJs, and he would just come in, check on the server from time to time, and then we'd pay him, you know, $50,000 a year to do that, and have him on retainer. Woohoo! We won, guys. We won. We always win, right? We always win. There's no such thing as losing here, ever, ever, ever. All right, Kit Kat, there you go. So yeah, you know, it's definitely something that, you know, I've seen before. It's just you keep a guy on retainer, he freelances, he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars if he does it with a couple companies. He just goes in there, sets some stuff up. You know, the most that guy ever worked at that company was like a week. He'd come in, he'd set up our servers, he'd set up our computers, our printers, got our fax machines going, got it all set up. And then like once every 2 months, he'd just show up in his PJs, check something. Or we could call him, and then he'd be like, all right, I'll be there. And then usually he'd just fix it from his house. So it's like, you're paying this guy $50,000 a year to basically do a one-time big setup, and then he made everything simple for himself. Which is like, good for you, dude. I mean, power of IT for sure. Look at my kills. Yeah, you did great. All right, let's go ahead and put my reindeer tank down. All right, let's keep moving forward. So we're in the middle of posing, and we are taking a look at ZBrush 2021.5. I have to say too, guys, like I said earlier today, I think I mentioned it, performance-wise, I'm noticing a huge improvement from the last iteration of ZBrush 1.2 to 0.5. So, lot better. They aren't paying him to be there, but they are paying him for his knowledge. Exactly. Yeah. That is exactly correct. Right. So we went, all right, before I do this part, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and do that scale down that we talked about with the other arm, the 0.95. Got to do it to this one as well. So we're going to go ahead, reset this local sim, and we're going to scale this down to 0.95. There we go. That way everything's still uniform as it needs to be. Looks like he's holding it. And his arms would be a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Here. This one right here, we need to scale this down. That was part of something. That back in. Here we go. All right. We're gonna move his arm. Let's go ahead and push this over here. This part's gonna be a little interesting. We're gonna have to pivot some of that armor a little bit better. I want this to look cool from here too. Kind of need to rotate that out, up, and that in. This is the interesting part with definitely the interesting part with getting this part done. All these layers. It's like, man. Have to change a few things. Oh, that looks good. I guess we'll have to fix this one piece right here. Let's get that cut. Really kind of move this back a little bit. I'll have to fix that. Touch. Rotate that around. Get this ball, this orb up above, at least for the render. For the 3D prints, we'll have to do something a little different, but for right now, that'll make sense having it up there. Whew, I still remember the one night I decided to go out on a date and got drunk and got a call that a client was having an issue with their virtual domain. That's already pretty interesting story there, buddy. I took my drunken self to the computer and thought I'd fix it, but accidentally deleted all the virtual domains. Talked about going from drunk to sober in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's insane. That's why I like doing coding, networking, admin stuff. Most of it can be done via SSH or remote desktop. Absolutely. Yeah, that's insane, dude. That's such an insane story. So we're gonna have to fix this armor piece here and make this a little bit more pointy, so that it actually looks like it's an arm guard or armlet that matches. So we'll do that once we are finished with the posing, so we'll leave that alone. I think we'll do some of this posing here with dynamic cloth, but for right now, let's go ahead and let's actually just kind of like flail it out a little bit so we get the sense of movement. Same with this one. I want the sense of the movement. I think that part's super important. I'm really just trying to go for the appeal of the character. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to hide a bunch of this stuff here. Hide this guy. Get rid of that for a second. Now we're gonna go ahead and just kind of here, kind of rotate his foot. This. And what I want to do is, we know where his knee is, so we're going to kind of put that back a little bit as if he's floating, but we're not going to soften it too much. Yeah, something like that. Up here. This is going to be, this part's the interesting part. We want it to look good here, but also from here, which this doesn't. rotate that. Yeah, Unix doesn't allow you to get your files back like Windows does, but we had backups. Still, the Sir admin was pissed. Yeah, I would be too, man. I'd be super angry. You know, but accidents happen, and at least you were able to. Again, that's the importance of backing everything up, right? Yeah. And just think, like, what if you didn't have that backup? Like, that would be it. Game over. That would really suck. So luckily, you had that backup. I've had mistakes like that happen in the machining world, where like we were programming a bunch of stuff, trying to get certain bolts made. We'd do a physical backup where we'd print out all the code, and then we'd write a sheet that explained all the process that we were doing. And this way we can actually say, like, we use this type of tool, it was coded here, it was done there, and it was definitely a really good thing. Thank you so much for the follow. And so what was interesting about it was, I'm going to kind of bring this in a little bit. What was interesting about that was I've deleted or accidentally deleted programs on the file, so we had to go through, pull the hard copy out, and retype it in manually. That was very, very difficult. Hey, Johnny Booey! Or boy. Johnny boy! Hey, what's going on? How you doing? I just saw a boo. I didn't even see the Y at the end until then. How you doing, my friend? What's going on, buddy? We're doing some ZBrush 2021. And so far, I'm really liking it. So we can kind of back this up a little bit. There, he's kind of floating. I have some ideas on how I want to actually make a illusion on a gravity base for this character, so that's why I love Git and Bitbucket. Git and Bitbucket for hosting over 3,000 virtual domains. That's awesome, dude. All right, guys. So just a reminder, we are only going to noon today for the stream, and then tomorrow is another 6-hour stream from 9 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But that being said, you guys have any questions about the new ZBrush, or just ZBrush in general, or just life questions? Just want to chat? Feel free to drop them all in there. We're getting this pretty decent pose going. Now we're going to take the move brush here, and I'm just going to kind of fluff up his coat a little bit, because he's a little bit skinny, and the pose itself, I think, is looking pretty freaking awesome. But I want to be able to see his back feet, so we need to be able to grab this. Go. Need to be able to back this up. Or we rotate that. Rotate it, maybe. See. What makes sense? Probably more like that. Let's actually move this over. Yeah, that makes more sense. Now let's take here. Actually select this section here. Soften it. Let's move that like that. Go. Go ahead and select it one more time. Kind of smooth that out a little bit. Go. Yeah, that's why the hog is the ectomorphiota. Yeah, going for smoke. Alright, no problem, dude. I always get that poly loop strip when I don't want it. I know, right? Dude, every time. Every time. I feel like I have to like zoom all the way in and hit that face. Because like from here, I always touch it and boom, there it is. Every time. But yeah. Yeah, this was a concept by Max Davenport from Gearbox Games. and he let me sculpt this amazing concept of his, so I'm really excited about it. Kind of bring that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and take his hand. See, there it is again. All right. Kind of come in here, and we're actually going to, let's take this out. Well, actually just select like that. That should be good. I want to rotate this down a bit more like this. Oh, that part didn't get going. That, all right. Be able to rotate this down a little bit. So that armor would move just a little bit. Not too much, it's probably too much. Second guessing myself now. Let's come back here. Like this. All right. Now let's go ahead and bring this down up just a little bit, and let's rotate it. So looking at the concept, I don't have it up right here, but you can see this is what we're going for. So we really need to bring that hand down as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and kind of push that. Be about there. Actually, it might be a little bit more than that. Now let's select this side right here. Let's soften that. And let's tuck that wrist back in. Go. Kind of fit that to his hand a little bit. I think we need to finish bringing up the rest of this. Like that. There we go. And we need to fix that armor like I mentioned earlier. There we go. Oop, I got a little tear there. All right. Yeah, this needs to go up a little bit more like this. That. Then we need to grab this right here. Let's go ahead and invert. Let's grab just his wrist. Not his wrist. Let's grab his hand like that. Now we'll just move it. Keeping his wrist the where it is. We'll just have to reshape. And then here he's just kind of like blah, so we need to make his hand a little bit more dramatic. Grab this. There we go. I think that's going to be a lot better. Oh. Go. Let's go ahead and grab this right here. Bring this finger back and down. And let's grab right here. And this will actually help kind of bring it up. Something like right about there. And obviously we'll have to fix his finger, but get a lot better. Rotate that out a little bit. May have been able to use a history brush on that unforeseen mistake patch of faces. Yeah, you know what? I haven't used that history brush as much as probably I should. I would say I honestly don't necessarily. I didn't understand it when it first came out, so I think I need to like kind of go back in and relearn it. I also could have. I've done this thing where like I've reverse mask and you smooth it down, and then that one little point gets snapped back. But yeah, you're probably you are definitely correct on that, sir. I feel like that's what happens when you don't clip it right. Let's go right here. It's funny because sometimes, like, I know I'm a man of habits, so a lot of times it's like, oh, I'll just do this thing because I know that's the thing I can do. Alright, let's go ahead. His thumb is more up like this. We'll have to fix the anatomy when we bring it back from pose, but ultimately, all right. Okay, unlock that and let's put that back. That looks okay from here. I'll have to fix a few things, but at least makes a little bit of sense. Move this ball over so it makes the rest of the way. So Johnny boy, you do environment, you do character work, hobbyist. What you love about ZBrush? Ooh, I like that. That looks good. Kind of hover that over a little bit. Let's bring this up. Now that our character is mostly posed, let's go ahead and take a quick look at our concept versus our pose. And pretty good differences. Overall, this is looking pretty decent. Saber is a little too far back. Maybe we need to push that up. Hand needs to be pulled back a little bit more. But we're getting there. Yeah, I'm the same way, and sometimes scared to use the new tools. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Especially since, too, it's like, you know, I tend to, you know, once you figure out what works, you don't want to deviate from that. At least I find that I don't want to deviate from that. I know it works. It's good. So there's no point in me trying to reinvent it, but every once in a while, something a little bit more exciting. All right. That's actually a good spot. Let's slide this over here so it's kind of out of the way. We don't want to auto-save it. You like to sculpt anything, like environments and characters? That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. Yeah, I mainly do characters, but I'm starting to get more into environments and hard surface, since I do everything I do pretty much goes to for 3D printing. Have as like a statue, so for the most part, you know, the base is just as important as the character. So I've been getting more into that hard surface and environment as well, just to really make sure that my pieces come to life a lot better. All right, he's also really close to his body. That. Go ahead and grab the rest of his hand. Let's go ahead and hit Y. Let's actually tap right there. Hit Y again. That brings the gizmo closer to where you need it, so you don't have to fight with the geometry so much. can go ahead and not only rotate it that way, but we're going to bring it in. More positioned where we want it to be. We actually need to wrap this around. Let's actually do that. Let's go here. Real quick, let's hit T-pose mesh one more time, which allows us to save our current progress. Go to Darth Grogu and let's go T-pose. Here 1, just so that we have it in case it crashes. We are doing a lot here. Now, when you're making cloth thickness for 3D printing, is there a certain thickness you should aim for? Like the minimum? Yes, the minimum I do is about 0.2 millimeters, or the equivalent of a layer height. Yeah, because you get a lot of fail rate. So 0.2 would be just pretty thin, to be honest with you. But you can actually, because it's a good thick, because it's good thickness for FDM printing, it will actually capture really well in resin. So I would say take that 0.2 millimeter and maybe double it to 0.4. You really want to be safe for it, you know, maybe aim for like 1 millimeter. So that way you definitely have a thickness, but the thinnest I've gone has been 0.2, and while that's scary, you can actually get a really cool translucent look. So I would say no less than 0.2, but up to 1 millimeter should be pretty good. And I mean, that's small, but yeah. It's a little bit of trial and error too, because it does depend on the quality of your printer. But if you are going for FDM, then at least if you know it's a layer thin, I mean, if you know if it's at least 1 layer thin, you can double that and you can be safe and you can get 2 nice thin layers. If you're doing resin printing, it will guarantee print. Again, but it needs to be consistent all the way through. So what you can do is you can actually size, you can take a cube, size that to 1 inch, and then section that cube into like, you know, 1/16 of an inch by using the edge loops. Get like 16 different groups going across, and you can kind of measure that way. Is there a tool to measure in ZBrush thickness? There is. It's complicated. ZBrush isn't super consistent. So what I do is, let's say, like, if I were to add this, cube, for example, and I make this 1 inch by going to your I'm not going to do it here, but if you go to Print Hub, you see this cube is 1 inch or 25.4 millimeter. You break these up into individual lines. You can actually set this to be a certain thickness and create your own measuring system. You can use the transpose tool as well. So this is 1 inch. And this is where it gets a little tricky because you kind of have to read it. If you turn on the gizmo, hit Y, you go from one end to another. Up at the very top, right up here, gives you units and measurement. And if you read this, you can actually figure out this is 2 units. So that means that 1 unit is ½ an inch, 2 units is a full. So it is a little weird. ZBrush's measuring system is probably not the best, but if you set this cube to 1 inch, then at least you're setting your whole project into an understanding measurements that then you can actually check against. So everybody kind of knows what an inch looks like. So when you plop that into, let's say, your slicer, then you can bring that cube over and that will set your scale. As far as exact measurements, ZBrush is more of the good enough. The best way to explain it. It's not 100% accurate, but it gets you there. It gets you close enough. I wish it was a little bit more like CAD, where you can go in and say like 0.05 and boom, you're solid. But it's unfortunately not. It's a little bit of trial and error. When I sculpt, I just inflate the cloth by 4. I'm not sure what thickness in millimeter that is. Yeah, that's a little hard to do. Like I said, what I've done, and it's something that I'm actually thinking about just kind of giving away when I do another video on YouTube about measurements, is I have a, where did I put it? I believe I put it right up here under official brushes. Base meshes. Yeah, 1-inch measuring cube. So I have this here, which it's broken down in all those sections, and you can kind of check against your file. But it's not, you know, it's a way that I understand how to do it, and I can go through and kind of explain how that works. But for the most part, I would just say set a cube to 1 inch and then work off of that. It's kind of hard. The thing that I have learned to go in with, like, let's say if you were to inflate this by 13, just for say, if your scene is set to 1 inch, I take these numbers as, because it goes to 100, I take each and every one of these numbers as a percentage. That's how I understand it. So if my scene is set to 1 inch and I inflate it 100%, I'm inflating it by a total inch, which would give you 2. So I would say that, like, if you were to go by 4, then that's like 4% of that inch, and then you kind of do the math there. That's how I usually think of it, but I don't know if that's exactly correct. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you. I really did. It's unfortunately not exact science in Zbrush. And that's just because it's just the way they do things. It's more of an art program, not a CAD program. But I guarantee Paul Gabriel would probably tell me, no, it's different. like it's the good enough approach. It's yeah. Sorry, man. I wish I had a better answer. But if you do check out my YouTube video on how to cut for 3D printing, I kind of explain a little bit better the measurement system in there. Not to plug myself, but load it up real quick. So if you go to my videos, and if you come over here to the dynamic thickness, click this one, do it. Where are you? Stream Raiders is ready. So if you come here to the dynamic thickness, I kind of go over a little bit about how cutting works and measurements and stuff like that. So feel free to check that out as well. That should give you a little bit better idea. But yeah, it's exactly organic science. Definitely, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. All right, let's go to Stream Raiders. Let's get that going, and then we'll come back. No worries. Just thought I was the only one that was really confused by it, but there might be a simple solution. Yeah, honestly, the simple solution for me is just set your scene to set your scale to the 1-inch cube, and then that kind of, for me, that just kind of grounds everything and makes it a lot easier to make judgment calls. Yeah, I just use Shane's ruler. Yeah, inspired. The Shane's ruler for the 3D Character Workshop, it's great, and that's a free system you can get. If you go to my school, which is in the About Edge, you can download his UI and stuff. And I like it, but I also like using what's within Zbrush as well. But he does have a pretty cool ruler. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, no problem, dude, no problem. All right, Stream Raiders time. Let's do it. And then we got another hour as we pose our Grogu. And what's neat is we have already used a good chunk of the new features just today going through this stuff. So I definitely want to get into some more hard surface as well, just because of how simple this thick skin is actually being. I really like it. Right, get it! Wow, we have more enemies than allies. I think we might lose, guys. I think this might happen because we just have these little musketeers archers happening. Like Blender's measuring, but it's all about the personal preference. Yeah. Oh, that's it, guys. That's it. We died. We died. Yeah, well. We'll open chest anyway. Oh, we get some coins. There we go. All right, let's try that one more time. let's get it going. Let's keep playing. Now let's try it one more time. We have retry tokens. Why not? They respawn, so no big deal. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put my rogue down. Let's try that. Yeah, you like it for measuring, but all personal preference. It absolutely is. Look, Blender's more of like has the CAD capability, which has a better measuring unit for sure. Okay. Looking at our concept once more again. We need to wrap his hands around. Let's go ahead and select this. Let's go ahead and ring it on over. Now he has his hand more towards the front. Like that. Actually, before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to select here, kind of grab where his thumb would be. Here we grab that correctly. So we're going to be able to kind of rotate his thumb a bit more. Bit. This. You're in the way, buddy. You're in the way of yourself. Get out the way. To do that, we're obviously going to have to rebuild this, but that's okay. It's just his hand. We've built plenty of hands around here. And we can even just smooth and relax it. Go. And I go back. Got this right here. Grab right there. Tap. There you go. Now what's really cool is if we have the gizmo out, or even if we have just the transpose tool by hitting Y on the keyboard, you can actually start hold control and kind of drag in a direction. So we can select a certain spot. Make sure we mask that, hit Y again. Bring his hand on down. Holding, this is actually going to be a little bit more at an angle. Like that. Here we go. Now for the knuckles, we can either just do this real quick, where we just kind of grab this spot right here. Grab this right here. Y on the keyboard, touch right there. Y again. Down. Angle it. I'll rotate it a bit. And I kind of put it up. Yeah, I'm dying to have my workbench supports come from Amazon next Monday. Then I can get a 3D printer out in the garage. Nice, nice. Dude, Amazon's been weird for me. Amazon has failed a couple deliveries. I think it's starting to get pretty crazy with the holidays and stuff. I had some resin that got lost, and then I ordered some CA glue and some ornaments, and that got lost. We're just gonna go ahead and smooth that down quick. Okay. Grab that face. Let's grab right here. So you want to grab that loop right there as well. That. Again, Y on the keyboard, touch right in the middle, Y again, push it in. Go. Yeah, I've only had that. Only had one thing get lost, but he eventually showed up. Well, I submitted a refund. It said I could submit a refund, but it was lost. So, we'll see. Waiting on that to happen. But okay. But yeah, I've only had it happen now twice. But it's a little weird. But that's okay. Okay. And we have this pretty much posed hand. Oh boy. Guarantee I kind of messed everything up real quick. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's go ahead and like set him back. That's funny. I know exactly what happened too. That's okay. Making his reposition in like this. There we go. That's funny. Accidentally moving him about. That's what happened. Stopped ordering things like monitors and TV purchases. I had one delivered. It didn't work. Yeah, I don't do those. The only thing I ever had delivered from Amazon that way was a printer. But that's, you know, only because typically 3D printers, at least in my area, I can only really get them. Through Amazon, so you know. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. DB Madness. Does that DB stand for Dragon Ball? Please tell me yes. Even if it's not. Because that would just be wonderful. Alright. Do that right there. Go ahead and grab all of this now. Let's see here. Leave here, just quick like this. Oops. Grab that. That's where I have that all selected. Let's push this back. What we're gonna do is actually rotate this a little bit more. This way and up. And we're gonna hide. Oh, I knew it. As soon as I grabbed the edge, we're gonna grab that. So we're gonna come here. Deselect that back, put it here. We unmask that section. Up. Yeah, I got the normal paper printer from Amazon. That's really nice. Nice. Haven't ordered the pantry yet. Well. Yeah, Amazon is kind of ruling the world right now. Ooh, look at that. We got some blade action happening. You know what? I'm not worried about that. We can fix that. That was so I wanted to resculpt those anyway, so I'm not really worried. Although, okay, let's try this history brush that Johnny was mentioning. So, BH, history recall. I think how this works is we come back here to where it failed. Come back before it failed. We hold control. We hold control, tap. Come on back. then I think that's how you use it. Not quite sure. Not quite sure how that works, actually. That's what I didn't understand about it. Interesting. You can always rebuild that later. If you know, actually, yeah, Johnny, if you're still here, if you know, let me know. I'm curious, man. This is about right. Go ahead and just save that T-pose mesh one more time. Almost there on the pose. We can do a couple things that are manipulative. Let's go back to Darth Grogu. Pose, save one more time. I think on my character that I'm working on, I'll rig it in Blender and pose it that way. Yeah, rigging in Blender is fun. Absolutely. Let's actually do this. Closer. Rotate that out. And rotate that. Oh. I'm gonna have to actually learn the recall brush a little bit better. I don't understand it 100%. That's okay though. I think this is looking almost side of his smile and stuff like that. I think we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Once we get this pose locked in, then we'll be able to actually utilize the start getting into the detailing and the dynamics and stuff like that, which we'll do a whole lot more tomorrow. Now, what I want to do, something I noticed, I'm gonna grab this guy. I'm gonna grab these guys right here. I'm actually going to local scale this up by like 0.08. So I take the move brush. I want to do the same thing here. Local scale by like 0.8. There, perfect. And then there's this new brush that well, it's not new. It's called Move Infinite. Love it. Definitely something that I can't get enough of. Now let's actually grab this arm here. Closer to his body. Yeah! Oh boy, that's coming along. I'm also gonna back him up a little bit too. So we're gonna hit Y on the keyboard, touch a button. Back here. Push this back. Gonna rotate him down this way. And these blades are super easy to build, so not too worried about having to rebuild those. A bit more like that. Yeah, so we'll just go with that mistake. That's totally fine. ish happens. It was literally just a cube that I just stretched out and pointed. Actually, what I want to do is kind of rotate that in, down a little bit more. Perfect. We'll do the same with his hand. One day I'll not grab all of these freaking points. There we go. One day. Don't know when that will happen. Oh. Luckily you all know what I'm talking about and you feel my pain. There we go. Let's move that up. Move his hand around. Then. That. Now we'll do is we're actually going to take that move infinite. And we're going to like him. Gonna move it. Just like that. Yeah, we have to fix this hand anyway, so okay that it's a little muddy. We want it to make sense. Silhouette's more important than the topology. We can always fix that. Out here. Look at this. Look at this preview AO. Like, he looks okay, and then bam! That preview AO is so beautiful. I just love it so much. Alright, this is almost it. This is almost it. There's some little things we can tweak here and there. Take the move infinite, for example. Kind of nudge his arm out a little bit. Just slightly move some stuff around. We'll have to fix the lightsaber blades themselves, but we weren't even done with that. And now we're going to go ahead and send this all to the home. So that's proper. There we go. All right. Go ahead and save T-pose mesh one more time. We've done a lot of work. And now we're going to go ahead and send it back. Nice. Looks like it made a white marble or something. It does, right? It looks really awesome. Now we moved a lot, and so this time I decided to save it all. And look at that, ZBrush 9 seconds. Now, of course, his eyes, he's looking the other way, so we'll have to rotate his eyes or repaint his eyes. No big deal. Like his eyeball. First off, let's go ahead and save this. Go to Darth Rogu. Call this 11 underscore post. Now we know when we broke symmetry. Click these eyes, turn off symmetry. Now we need to go auto groups. We select this now and we can kind of rotate this. Local sim. And that's not even the official paint job, but this is where we're kind of at with them right now. Now, what we're going to do with this guy, go ahead and auto groups. Go ahead and delete hidden. And with this blade that I just delete the whole thing actually. Let's grab this color. Yeah, let's go ahead and just delete this. As it is. Come here to accessories, delete, and we can make a new blade when we're ready. But yeah, that preview AO just makes everything look so much better. Go Go ahead and hit save. And let's just save that. If we want to do the new blade, let's just do it right now. Let's go Q cube. It's 3D cube, but I always call it Q cube because I go to initialize. I come on down, scroll this down, hit Q cube. This is in home position. Immediately come over here, mirror and weld. Gives me my center line. Here, just gonna stretch this out and this up. Such, just grab that point right there and put that back. That really simple. Just in the center. We don't need a save on that. I never knew there was a preview AO button. There is now. That's part of the new ZBrush. So if you come up to render now in the new ZBrush, there is preview AO. And if you want, let's go ahead and dock that. Let's just go ahead and kind of go over it a little bit. So if you kick over here to the render, go ahead and just hide this tool right now. Okay. So one of the new features is preview AO. So it's called occlusion. You turn it on, it automatically fakes the ambient occlusion and how it would look with all the depth. From there, you have quality, which means you can kind of go through and actually just increase how good it looks. That's going to be more CPU intensive, but it doesn't seem to be affecting it that much. From there, intensity, you can have that slider go up, so you can really pick up the intensity, or you could drop it down next to nothing. It's up to you. Can you have it on all the time? You can, yes. You need to get 2025 currently using. Yeah, to get it, just do the upgrader within Pixelogic. So you don't have to re-download anything. Just go up to your Pixelogic folder, which is over here. So if you go into your whatever hard drive you have it on, and you go under Program Files, Pixelogic, just come on down to Upgrader. Really simple. That's all you have to do. Upgrader or Updater, they work both the same in my opinion. And then from there, you can change the radius. Secondary radius. I don't mess with these. I don't really think you need to. And then, of course, the blur, how much fall off you would like it to have. It's usually set to 1 or 2, which I think is pretty good. So what I did is I docked the inclusion and the intensity button off on my own little private UI. So then I can kind of adjust that on the fly. And here's the best part. You can't have it on all the time, because let's say we're working on a space. You take clay buildup, and watch this. As I build up, you can see that AO is previewing and updating in real time. So this is going to be super helpful for us 3D printer nerds and geeks who want to come in here and like actually check out that cavity. For us 3D printing gurus, this is what we want to do. So this is really exciting to me to have that there. Whereas before we just kind of guess based on the natural lighting. That like, oh, I think that's deep enough. This is actually a lot better now to be able to hit occlusion, and now you see that it's evident each time, and I like that. It's also going to be good for eyelashes, for old school style or traditional style clay sculptures. I think it's going to be good. Yeah, I do that in Blender all the time. It's so useful. Absolutely. Do you use Keyshot? If so, do you have to reinstall your Keyshot bridge when updating to 2021.5. I do not use Keyshot anymore. I used to have a copy of Keyshot 6, but too kind of broke to pay for another one. But the way I understand it is that it automatically updates your bridge as well. I believe there is a bridge update because now they moved it so that you have Keyshot that works for both Mac and Windows. The bridge is connected, but I don't think there's any other necessary updates. You should be fine because it's, even though it's like a new version of ZBrush, it's still on the backbone of 2021. So I don't think you're going to need to do that. So hopefully that, yeah. I'm pretty certain. I'd say like 85% certain you wouldn't need to. But no, I mean, I want Keyshot. I just don't really need it right now. Blender works out really, really well. Oh, and for those of you who watched my other videos talking about moving your polypaint over from 2021 into ZBrush, there was a bug that had occurred that did not allow you to bring your polypaint over. Now with the Go B button, the FBX exporter, and the FBX regular, you don't have to do anything funny anymore. It's coming over now. They fixed that issue, so you should be fine moving that over to Blender. In fact, Inspired 3D, he tested it last night. That was like the first thing he tested. So while I was over here like geeking out on this hard surface stuff, he was like, hey, by the way, just so you know, this works. I was like, thanks. So quick shout out to him. There we go. Yeah. Oh man, I love this pose. I think it's great. Probably look at it tomorrow and be like, what the hell did I do? But we're not at tomorrow yet. Let's go ahead and take our blade now. Let's tweak it and let's put it back right here. And let's just scale that down. Then there we go. And then we're actually going to do control. Rotate this around. Pivot this and bring this back. Just like such. Go ahead, hit Y, let's touch the surface. Up. That's pretty close. Get it more finalized when we're officially done with it. Now for like measuring, say if I take this down here, let's go get the gizmo, get Y. So for measuring, this is 2.395 units. So for the blade showing, this blade says it's 2.03, so this blade's actually a little short. So let's go back to our gizmo. Let's actually drag this out. Come back in. Then coming back here to here. 2.2, so that's a lot better. So you can measure that way. Speaking of measurements. The other thing I want to do too, grab this. Actually come here. Grab this right there. To move infinite on this. Go over to our brushes. Go to move infinite. Kind of pivot. Kind of want this to have like a little bit of a bend to it, and this move infinite is going to allow me to kind of just grab this section, and now I'm grabbing completely on both sides. Nice. There we go. Definitely a little bit different here. Go. Kind of bring that down. There we go. feel like that's a little bit better. And it gives us that angled shape a little bit. Bring that up. Look at that. That works out really well. Now we have that shape. Let's go ahead and save it. We got Stream Raiders to go. And then we got half hour more, guys. We'll do Stream Raiders once more, and then that'll be it for today. Do it, Stream Raiders! Alright. Alright, get some water. Look at that. Easy peasy, guys. That was easy that time. What we're talking about? Yay! Alright, and we got Anton Hasting Beats and Periaxium. Hopefully I said that right. Trying not to butcher names. Trying to get really better with that. Alright, let's do this mystery one, guys, and then that'll be it for today. Thank you all for playing with me, hanging out, asking your questions. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna stick this guy right here. This will be the last Stream Raiders for the day. And then tomorrow we'll be back with more final tweaking, posing, detailing, and getting Grogu ready. Then we got to build the environment, which is going to be nice. Really excited about that. Let's go back to Zbrush. There we go. But there we go. There we go. So start moving. A lot more of this texture out. Getting this punched in. There we go. And what we're going to start doing too is we'll make sure we add a lot of the squish and the feel, because this is attached to his face. So we want to make sure that this actually feels like it's part of it. Right now, it just kind of looks like it's sitting on his face. But we'll actually make it a part of it. We'll go in there and do things that even the concept doesn't have. And we'll just make that a little bit more defined. So now it's about just getting the uniform stuff going. Now, throat's really just killing me, dude. Let me get some water. There we go. All right, let's just take a look at everything. I want this metal texture for this ball. Let's go ahead and grab a metal material. Let's go ahead and fill it with just the material itself. Back to skin shade. Yeah, there we go. Oh, the other thing. There is one more thing, guys. All right, this is what I wanted to show you guys. There was one more thing. I forgot to show you this. This is probably the coolest thing next to Preview AO and the Slice Mesh. What I want to show you is creating alphas from items within ZBrush. They showcased it in the 0.5 version, and I immediately lost my mind. So, let's say, for example, I want to have this necklace pendant as kind of a silhouette, okay? What you do is you fill up your viewpoint as much as possible. Go to our normal brush, and oh, this is the coolest thing ever. You grab this, you go ahead, go into alpha, and I'm going to turn on the magnifying glass. Go to alpha, come right down here to grab dock. What this does is it takes anything in your viewport that's visible and makes it an alpha. So we're going to go ahead, go alpha, and grab dock. And now if you take a look here, have this alpha. Now what I could do is, let's say I wanted this on his jacket. Let's say I just forget it, not even the jacket. Let's just save this real quick here. Let's say I want this on a sphere. Let's switch, go to a sphere, drag this out. Go ahead and make this polymesh 3D. Okay. Go to subdivide this a few times. So now let's say I want this, so it's in my, it's now set here in my dock. So now I can go ahead and grab this, come to my alpha, drag, and look at this. There it is. Just like that. Now I'm good, and I can even cut into it. And so anything that is in your viewport, guys, can be used as a mask. So if you want to get something really crazy, and you can see here too, if we really look at that mask, I'm going to zoom in. It's hard to see. I wish we could zoom in a little bit more. But it's it does figure out height and depth information, and it just pulls that out. We're using ZModeler brush to extrude the edges. No, not for this. So all I did, back it up a little bit. Okay, so all I did was I loaded up my scene, whatever I wanted. Let's say I want Grogu. Wait, hold on one second. We're using ZModeler to extrude edges. Yes, to extrude edges, use ZModeler. Sorry, Peter, I didn't finish the question. Right now we're talking about alphas. If I want this whole thing here, I just go to the alpha, hit grab dock. Now it has an alpha. Come over to whatever I was working on, and I can now drag that out as an alpha. And it even recognizes a lot of that geometry. This is super important. Nope, misread the question. Nope, I misread the question. What were you using in ZModeler brush to extrude the edges? Oh, gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I did misunderstand that question. So let's back up. So to extrude edges, loop. Go ahead and get that. Let's delete hidden. Okay. So in ZModeler brush, so BZM, I hover over an edge. What I use is extrude along with snap to surface. And sometimes I'll even use the number rows, but let's just start with single row. So hover over an edge, extrude, go to single row, snap to surface. If you're going to be if you're going to need to have the underlying surface followed. And then you could just start, can't use it with subdivisions. Then you can start dragging out the edge. If you hit tap, it'll do a single. Tap alt, it'll hit a single poly. Tap alt again, it'll do the whole edge loop. So what we could do here is right over that edge, you're extruding. Fire. Come on. Extrude, snap surface. You go into the alpha menu and you use from mesh, you get the actual select in the map size. You'll get a better resolution alpha. Yours doesn't have that. Well, that's because you're running a lower version. You need to upgrade for that version. Yes, you can do that exactly, Next Nox. This alpha here is for quick grab, which is new. And it's a lot easier. But you actually get a pretty good resolution based on whatever your viewport dock is too. Grab dock has been around forever. But not being able to create alphas from your items, that's something that they showcased for this new version. So it must be a feature that they've improved upon, not necessarily brand new. But not sure exactly how it works, but this is something they showcased. And this is a really good feature as well. So I don't work for Pixel Logic, this is just how I understand it. So I figure I just give it to you as I know it. But yeah, Peter, you'll have to update. 2021 has the new topology functions within the Z modeler, and now they've updated it even further. So if your version doesn't have that, then yeah, that's why. So if you go to alpha menu, so next I'm saying alpha menu, and then from mesh is right here. Yes. Okay. Yeah, transform alpha 3D, and you can get a bigger map size. Yep. But now you could just but the way it works now, I don't know. The way it works now, it seems to be a lot better. Ooh. Okay, opening Blender. Yeah. Oh, that's the T-pose version. Go here. So here's our pose version. And let's get the color going to that red that we want, and let's fill object. Let's fill it with a metal. Huh. That might look kind of cool. And then let's go back to skin. Here we go. But that's okay, man. That's okay. Soon you'll have the other ZBrush. So let's actually fix. Okay, let's fix some of this stuff real quick here before we call it for the day. Let's use our move brush. Kind of pull this down a little bit. There you go. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Welcome in. I think the other thing too, Next Nox, was I think what they were really getting on is the way project works now too, because you don't have to, when you're trying to project an item, that let's say you have a Dynamesh version, then you Z-remesh a duplicate and then project. Remember before we'd have to project, upres, project, upres, project, upres. I think the reason why they showcase this, don't quote me on this, I'm going to play with it a little bit more, but it seems to be that it's no longer necessarily how big your alpha is as far as resolution. You can get some really clean alphas with 500 by 500 pixels just out of Photoshop. So what I'm thinking is going on is now everything's based on the resolution of the model, not the resolution of the alpha. And I think that is the big upgrade, because I've noticed, and let's actually try it. I'm curious now, because so if we get, let's take we already have our alpha that we grabbed, which is just this little guy. So let's take the sphere. Go ahead and do this. So let's duplicate this. Let's make Polymesh 3D. Let's duplicate this lower one. Let's do solo. So let's go up on this one to let's say 103. Let's go to, I think this is pretty much what they're talking about. So here's my alpha here, which was just a quick screen grab. Now if I up this even further, so pretty clean lines. And I think that's the big deal. It's not necessarily the resolution of the alpha anymore, it's the resolution of your model. And I think you can even add Sculptress Pro to that, which does an even better job. Or technically should do a better job. Although it's not, let's see, it doesn't work with subdivisions. So let's delete subdivisions, turn Sculptress on. Oh no, that just breaks it. Don't do that. Never mind. Sculptress does not work with that. But I think that's what they're getting at. If I kick up the resolution even further, here's 8 million. So it doesn't really matter the resolution of the alpha so much anymore as it would be the model itself, which in a sense is technically how it's always worked. I think now they've just kind of perfected the algorithm that makes that work even better. Because again, if I were to take this, and let's say duplicate this, and then let's say this top one, I went ahead and I go to Z plugin, and let's say I just Dynamesh master it at 1,000,000. Go ahead and delete this one. So let's say I have this one that's like super detailed, my really detail. Then I duplicate it, and then I Z-remesh it. Let's call it Z-remesher at 5. I now technically only have to project once, which would be once it rebuilds, and then we'll go ahead and up the resolution a few times to whatever I need it to project, and then I'll now figure out that math in one go instead of constantly doing the projection over and over again. And this is what I'm actually starting to really love about Zbrush. They're starting to fine-tune those little things that were kind of a frustration pipeline. You know, subdivide, project, subdivide, project. Been doing that for the last 4 years. So now I should be able to just up it a couple times and then project all. Actually, before I do that, project all here. And now, yeah, some slight breaking here, but that's probably to my alpha. But for the most part, it works. We did it on Grogu's face earlier, so yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm pretty happy with it. And again, too, this is just my first impression of ZBrush, what I figured out so far. But this grab dock is, I think it's going to be super useful. They also have a crop fill. They also have a make 3D, which is pretty cool. I think that might have been the update when they started doing the snapshot. So like if I take this, go to make 3D, kind of makes its own little 3D thing based on the information that's provided. It kind of docks it over here in its own little thing. So never really used that, but it could be pretty cool. So some fun stuff. I think what we're gonna do for this guy in particular, this jacket, this is dynamic turned on. Turn the gizmo back on. Activate symmetry, let's grab that. Actually going to make another one. Kind of rotate this around. Bring this around. I'm excited to finally have another ZBrush job later today. Just upgraded too. Nice, nice. Were you here when I showed a little bit of the thick skin? Because that thing is awesome. At first I didn't understand the thick skin brush that they have. Thought that was a little weird, but once I kind of took a look at it, I ended up liking it a lot. But what's neat is that thick skin works for all these brushes. So I think that right there, that's the kicker I'm really liking. I kind of just back this up. Let's turn off, let's go ahead and just do auto groups officially so I can just select the one that I want. But yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. I wasn't, but I'm excited for it. I've cheated it over the last couple years with an inflate copy light boolean. Yeah, that is one way to do it for sure. That's such a great little cheat. Very creative. But I think you're gonna like it, man, because this little orb that I put in the Discord, dude, like I made that in 2 minutes. It was super, super intuitive and easy to kind of just go through and look at it. And yeah, yeah. As soon as you plop it in, I'll show you here in a second. Let me just put in the little change I need to make. But I'll show you what I was talking about with like their little clay brush. And I think it's mainly to replicate like what is traditional clay and how they do certain things. But it was a little confusing at first, and then I realized what they were doing. And I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Like this AO preview is neat because now I get to see how this interacts with each of the subtools and get a sense of depth without kind of guessing. So yeah, you think his new trend of making box sculptures is interesting. It's niche. It really is, yeah, for sure. Okay. So we put an extra plate in here just for his elbow. The other neat thing that I really like is, say like, for example, here, I want to pinch this, but I don't want to up the resolution. What I do like is this ability where I can grab this section, say like right here. I want to grab this, solo this part out, take my standard brush or whatever brush I want to use, turn on Sculptress, not in the drag formation. And now I can use Sculptress with hidden mesh, which I think is super, super cool. So I'm able to come in here and actually add in the spots that I want with hiding mesh when it's super detailed. So I think that's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and save this. And then I'll show you the brush I was talking about. So we come here, Mesh 3D. So with the thick skin brush, thick skin, turn that on, kind of expand that up. There's this brush over here. It is thick skin clay. Yeah. I was a little uncertain with this guy. Set the resolution, Dynamesh it. Go. The thick skin, bring that up. So it kind of like, you wipe it one way. If you're used to going back and forth, it's gonna look muddy and weird. Yeah, I just split up this pistol I'm working on into 6 parts and it barely fit into the Form 3. Damn, that's huge. But that's one thing I noticed with this, it works one way and then it works the other way. So if you're used to doing this with like clay buildup, it's not gonna work for you. That's gonna look different. So this clay skin, you kind of have to go one direction and then come back to kind of wipe it. So one part's like kind of negative, one part's positive. It's a weird back and forth. I see this really useful actually for environment. Thick skin is supposed to behave differently with a morph target set too. I think it does, yeah. So if we come over here, so I'm out for the day. Sorry again for being late, but I wish everyone an amazing day. Dude, Martin, don't even apologize for that stuff, man. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all your help. Don't even trip, Chocolate Chip. We're good. I'll see you tomorrow, my friend. Yeah, if you go here and set a morph target, yeah, it will respond differently as well. Just how morph target works. And then the cool part is, let's say you're like, ugh, that's no good. I want to restart. Take this back down to 0, and you can erase it. No problem. Sets everything back. So it's a very non-destructive workflow, which is pretty cool. Let me rephrase slightly. 6 different form prints. 1 part per day. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty massive, dude. Yeah, I can see that for environment. Absolutely. So that's pretty cool. But yeah. And then what I like about the thick skin, this is what I was playing with last night for a second. It's like, I was thinking like a Dragon Ball world almost. Right? So I was literally just using clay buildup And then kind of like creating these little planes like this. And then playing a little bit more with clay buildup. Actually getting down. Here, for example, getting stuff like this, which I thought was cool. And then I was like, oh, I want to detail this, but I don't want to go up in resolution. So that's where I like grabbed this thing. I took the damn standard brush, turned on Sculptress, turned on my trim dynamic with Sculptress. And then I was able to like grab this section right here, like right there. And I was able to come in and actually start with Sculptress, coming in and actually building really quick kind of rock looking things. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. So this was really cool. Be able to come in here and actually like just start creating little cliffs and stuff like that with ease, just because now I can like isolate that spot, so I can use thick skin on top of it, and then I can come in and actually start purging this out, because the clay buildup gives you these nice like naturalistic rocks. I don't even know if that's a word, but you know, natural style rocks. And then with the occlusion turned on, you can almost kind of see how deep I'm going. So I really like that. And then I can just turn that back on, zoom out, take a look at my planet, and say that, you know, Goku should be there. Go back to your Grogu head and set a morph target on thick skin and play with the cloth brushes. Oh yes, that was another really cool feature for sure. Yeah, so if I were to take his head, yeah, let's go to, well, I have subdivisions turned on. This is the problem. Nope, I think that will work, hold on. And then let's get a cloth brush. Let's get, what I like is you can use any brush as a cloth brush. But yeah, let's take cloth slide. Let's solo this out. So yeah, you can actually like come this down, and that thick skin will actually kind of allow you to move only within that section. So there's cloth slide. Let's do cloth pinch. So yeah, with the thick skin, you can use some of that cool feature. You have to play with the thickness, I think. Yeah, to play with that. Yeah, that's fun. Absolutely. Yeah, just even having the move brush. The other thing too that I really liked was, let's do this. So we're gonna take his head and we're gonna go ahead and, just for fun, let's do this. We have visible. We're gonna go ahead and just duplicate his head real quick, just so we have a copy we can mess up. Go to, this was really cool. I don't know how intense this will be on the stream though. So we're gonna go ahead and lower the resolution a little bit. And then we're gonna go ahead, come up here to dynamics, which is also dynamic subdivision. I'm gonna turn that on. And then what we're gonna do here is we're actually going to go ahead and hit like expand. And then we're gonna go ahead and collision volume. Might be a little. And then what's really cool is you can actually manipulate some of his geometry with thick skin by setting some of that up. You can actually create kind of more of like eye bag looks, or really mess with some of the wrinkles in his head. Just kind of neat. You could play with some of this stuff here. You can even use the move transpose, like the transpose cloth. Kind of play with maybe just some of the functionality within it. Although it's kind of collapsing on me right now. But that part's really cool. The cloth, do cloth pinch. Really just killing it. But you can use the move brush and stuff and get some of those wrinkle effects you wanted to. Kind of tug these down a little bit more, maybe mess and get a little bit more wrinkle. Say we like that, even though it's horrible. But let's say we really wanted to exaggerate some of the wrinkles here. Like this, push that in. And then we can go ahead after that we can apply that. And now we have that kind of wrinkle look, which is cool. Again, that's actually using dynamics along with it is a little bit more CPU intensive, but it does actually work out pretty well. So if that was a route you wanted to go, it works out pretty well. I'd probably not do that so much on stream. My favorite feature so far has to be, again, we built this neck piece really fast. Just go ahead and using slice mesh, which is within the Modeler brush. Cool, and I like that. So you have the new sliced mesh for edges and for points. And then we were able to cut the head, and then we used polygroup fill that selection, grabbed it, and then dynamic thickness, and boom, we had a piece. So I really like that. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for the day. Let's do one more Stream Raider battle. Should be up in the next 20 seconds. So let's go ahead and just save this one more time. We'll be back tomorrow. And seeing the character come to life is so satisfying. It really is. It is probably one of the best experiences as a character artist. We're going to use more of that slice mesh tomorrow to actually cut his ear, because in the concept he has ear gouges. Then we're going to start getting into texturing and then final little micro movements to get the pose locked in. And then we're going to start doing all of our asymmetrical details and stuff. So I think it's well on its way. We definitely have some anatomy in the hands to fix because they broke him. But I think overall he's coming along pretty well. And this is a pretty fun, subtle pose. But we'll definitely need to just tweak it a little bit more to get it where we want. So let's go to Stream Raiders, and then that will be it, guys. Yay! All right. Thank you so much. Glad you guys are enjoying it. Hopefully this was knowledgeable for you guys, or informative at least, with some of the new updates. I'm always available for asking questions. Hit my Discord up. So yeah. Ooh, we're just gonna murder all these guys like this. Damn, fast. I'm just gonna premature just hit this. We just straight freaking killed them all. Alright, guys. Well, that is it for the day. Stream Raiders is done. The winner is Crackalakin. Nice. Very nice 90s throwback. I love it. Alright, guys. You all take it easy. Enjoy yourself. And I will see you guys tomorrow. 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.